Okay, so you know that thing we all say we're going to do, like, oh yeah, I need to get on a budget.
Right.
And kind of just ends up, at the bottom of the to-do list.
It's true.
So today we are going to deep dive into budgeting,
Yeah.
using the Money Matters podcast as a resource.
I think a lot of people kind of view budgeting as this restrictive thing, like, ugh, I have to stick to this budget.
Right.
When really, I think the Money Matters podcast does a good job of kind of reframing that
Yeah.
into something more positive, like you're in control.
I like that. So they break it down into 6 steps.
They do.
And the first one is kind of a no-brainer, knowing your income.
Yeah, you got to know what you've got to work with, right?
Right.
They use the example of someone who makes $2,500 a month from their job.
Yep.
But then they also have a side hustle. So they're making like an extra $200 a month.
Got it.
So then that brings their total, their net income, up to $2,700 a month.
And so that's after taxes.
Right.
So it's what you're actually taking home.
Exactly. And they suggest like looking at your pay stubs and your bank statements.
Make sure those numbers are accurate.
Yeah.
Because how can you even begin if you don't even know what you have to work with?
Exactly.
Okay, so now we get to the fun part, I think.
Yeah.
Tracking your expenses.
Yes. This is where it gets really interesting because I think
Oh, yeah.
we all have those moments where we're like, wait a minute, where did all my money go?
It's like the end of the day, and you're like, oh, I only have like $20 left in my wallet.
Yeah.
You're like, but I just went to the ATM yesterday.
Exactly.
Like, where did it go?
And they point out, like, even if you're spending like $3 on coffee every day,
Yeah.
that adds up to $90 a month.
That's a lot.
Which is a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of us would be surprised if we actually tracked where our money goes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are things that I spend money on that I don't even realize.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not about, like, shaming yourself for your spending habits.
Yeah.
It's about just being aware of it.
Becoming aware. Right. Okay, so once you're tracking everything,
Uh-huh.
they say, step 3, categorize everything.
Yes.
So this is where you make sense of your spending.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They talk about dividing things into essentials, which are your needs,
Okay.
like rent, utilities.
X-rays, yeah.
Yeah, all that good stuff, transportation. And then you've got your non-essentials,
Uh-huh.
the more fun stuff like eating out, entertainment.
Right. So you can kind of see like, okay, where's the bulk of my money actually going?
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Step 4 is where things start to get really empowering
Yes.
because this is where you're setting limits.
Exactly. You're taking control. You know, instead of just tracking where your money's going, you're deciding where you want it to go.
So you're being intentional. I like that.
Yes, exactly.
Aligning your spending with your goals.
Yeah, and they even use the example of like, instead of thinking about it as, oh, I can't spend money at restaurants anymore.
Right.
Think about it as, I'm saving money so I can go on that vacation.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. It's kind of like, I don't know, turning it into a positive thing instead of a negative, restrictive thing.
Instead of like a chore, it's like, this is actually helping me get to where I want to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And speaking of helping you get to where you want to be, step 5 is regular review because life happens.
Life happens, exactly.
You can't always predict.
Yeah, you can't plan for everything.
What's going to come up. So I like how they emphasize that it's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's just about like
adjusting
and being like, okay, well, that didn't work out this month.
Right.
But, figuring out how to like make it work.
And giving yourself grace,
Yeah, exactly.
Not beating yourself up if you go over in a certain category 1 month.
Right.
Just like, why did that happen?
Right. What can I do differently next time?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So for people who like a little bit more structure, they do have, they talk about the 50-30-20 rule.
Yes.
Which I've definitely heard of before.
Yes.
And this is just kind of like a guideline, right?
Yeah, it's a good starting point.
Okay.
Especially if you're new to budgeting and you're like, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
This is a good kind of framework.
So that's like 50% of your income on needs.
Correct. 30% on wants and then 20% towards savings and debt repayment.
Okay. And are those like set in stone or is there any wiggle room with those percentages?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really easy to get caught up in the numbers.
Right.
But the important thing is to understand why those numbers are what they are.
Okay.
And to realize that you can adjust them based on your own personal circumstances.
So if someone's really trying to pay down debt, maybe they could do 30% to debt repayment.
Exactly.
Even if that means they have to cut back somewhere else.
Exactly. Or if someone's really trying to build up their emergency fund, they could bump up that savings to 25%.
Okay, and they use the example of, remember how we were talking about that person with the $2,700 income?
Yes.
So with the 50-30-20 rule, that would be like $1,350.
To needs.
For needs.
Okay.
$810 for wants.
Yep.
And $540 to savings and debt repayment.
Exactly.
So like, let's say they get a raise.
Right.
And now they're making more.
Uh-huh.
Well, they can adjust that, right? Like maybe they don't have to cut back on their wants so much.
Right.
They can still have that lifestyle, but they can also be putting more towards savings.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it, is it can grow with you.
Got it. So it's really like, finding what works for you, right?
Exactly. There's no one size fits all
Yeah.
when it comes to budgeting.
Well, this has been really eye-opening, I think. Like, you have some really good points in that Money Matters podcast.
They do.
Just about how to, like, wrangle your finances and, like, make your money work for you. Not the other way around.
Yeah, it's about being intentional and having a plan.
Yeah. So as we kind of, like, wrap things up here,
okay,
was there anything that, like, really resonated with you?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is just that reminder that it's a process,
Right.
It's not like you just create a budget once and then you're done.
Yeah, you set it and forget it.
Right, exactly.
It's like you got to keep revisiting it.
Exactly. It's about being flexible, making adjustments as needed.
Yeah, and like giving yourself grace, I
yes,
think.
absolutely.
Because life happens.
It does.
And it's not always going to go according to plan.
Right, and I think that's where a lot of people get discouraged.
Yeah.
Is they try to stick to this rigid plan and then life throws a curveball and they're like, well, I guess I failed.
Right, and that's not what we're going for here.
Not at all.
We're just trying to, like, get a handle on things.
Exactly. It's about making your money work for you and your goals.
Okay, well, on that note,
yeah,
we'll wrap up this deep dive on budgeting.
This was great.
We hope you got a lot out of it.
Yes.
And, feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
Let us know what you thought.
We love to hear from you.
And until next time.